Hello and welcome to Top Producer Mindset. My name is Rachel Vanderveen. I am the director of Revival Wave Marketing. We do online lead generation for real estate agents. We are big on high quality, low cost leads that can literally change your business. So today I want to talk to you about having a top producer mindset. I think that how you think can sometimes be the most important part of how and why you close. So whenever I start a presentation, I always start with, explaining to you who am I and what authority do I have to tell you anything. So I'm Rachel Vanderveen. I am a top producer in my area. I do around 31 million in sales per year. I run 3 businesses. Revival Wave is one of them, and the other one of the 3 is running a real estate business in Calgary, Alberta, where I have a team of agents that work for me as well as doing my own sales. And the last one is kind of like Property Brothers. It's a situation like that, but with no cameras. Thank goodness. I am a Google PPC expert and Facebook lead generation expert. So everything that we talk about today in terms of, your mindset will be geared towards farming leads that you meet online. It is my opinion that if you do not learn how to farm online leads in this day and age, within the next 10 years, I do not think it's going to be possible to do business. It is just simply part of who we are. Even when I was licensed in 2006, this wasn't as big of a deal as it is now. I started getting really good at generating leads online in 2011. And since then, it's such an important part of the marketing mix with how many people turn to the internet to make their decisions about buying or selling real estate. It is absolutely fundamental that you learn how to generate leads online. So part of what I teach people a lot, and I think it drives some of my agents on the ground crazy how much I talk about mindset, but they do know that this is what makes them so attractive and what makes people want to close deals with them. So I picked 5 foundations here of closers, people who close well and close well above their peers. And this is sort of what we came to, that the things in common was that they believe that the provision in their life that they need comes from a higher power. It does not come from their clients. This is key, and we'll talk about this as we go forward. They have confidence. They're generous with their time, money, and resources. They have a teaching spirit, and they have patience with their pipeline. So let me dig into the first one here. Your income does not come from your clients. This is just huge. If I had to say one of these 5 was the most important, it would be this one. This has to be set in stone in you. It has to be ingrained deep into the foundations of who you are. So if your income doesn't come from your clients, from your clients buying and selling real estate, that actually frees you to make good decisions. So if your income comes from your higher power, whoever that may be, if you believe that your higher power is the one that is supplying the things that you need for your life in order to do well, then your clients are free and so are you, which means that if you see a house that won't work for one of your clients that isn't a good house, you're free to tell them that. You're free to cancel the deal. And I'll tell you what, that creates clients for life. It also frees you from pressuring clients. It frees you from, saying, you have pretty much 8 houses to look at. And after that, I'm going to start to get annoyed with you if you waste any more of my time. Can you imagine? I mean, many of you have gone shopping for your own houses. Can you imagine feeling rushed with a $500,000 investment? But yeah, that's what many of our clients feel like because we've been down this road. We know what the stock is out there. We know what we would pick, but they're a little less sure. And instead of holding their hands, we basically give them a certain amount of time for them to pick. And if they go past it, we start to get annoyed as though they owe us something. They don't. And here's the thing. This is what I've noticed, and this is my agents would agree. The more relaxed that you become in not pressuring your clients, the more they don't feel pressure and the more likely they are to pull the trigger when the time comes. So once they feel that they're not being pressured by you, it'll be much easier for them to make their decision. And in fact, I will get into a house and I will tear that house apart. I will tell them more about what's wrong with that house than I will about what's right with that house. Because that way, when an actual right house does come along, if I've been honest about all the stinkers, when a good one does come along and I say this one's good, they'll believe me. They won't feel like they're being sold on something. So this brings me to the next one. If I had to put it down to two sort of success strategies, like what separates the winners from the losers in real estate, in terms of a practical sense, it would be confidence and skill. Those two things. Skill you can read about in books, but confidence you got to work at. So confidence and skill, confidence comes from experience and self-worth. And so just doing transactions is a huge, huge part of that. And I think that, if you're a brand new agent and you're watching this, go to a senior agent and say, I will do all of your grunt work for you. Or sign up with EXP or sign up under me, even better. And I have no problem letting you learn really carefully how a transaction goes so that you can get experience, so that you can understand how to find stuff and how to find stuff that no other agents can find and how to approve clients that no other agents can approve. But the self-worth side you have to work at. You actually, if you watch Brene Brown, that vulnerability, she talks about, what is it that separates the people who live wholehearted from the people who don't? And she said that it comes down to one thing, and that's worthiness. So the people who believe that they are deserving of love and connection, that they're worthy of love and connection, are the ones who live the most wholehearted life. And let me tell you something, you can smell that on people when they're living wholehearted. You can smell when people don't have an agenda. I know you know when you get in, a car salesman, whatever, or somebody, even just your friends, when they're calling you out of the blue because they want something from you. That agenda, people can smell it on you. I'm telling you, when I'm around my clients, I have no agenda to sell them something. I walk with them and I know that I'm there in a professional capacity. And if they buy something, then great. And if not, I know they will later because they trust me. Because they trust that I will put my own self-interest in the way. I'll blow up my own deal and lose money to do the right thing so that the right thing will happen by them. So that I'll have intense referrals and intense past clients. So work on yourself. I know that this is like way outside the purview of like a real estate type, knowledge session. But I truly, truly believe that who you are when people get around you is win or lose. It's do or die. Like they'll know. People will know within 15 minutes whether they want to work with you. And so much of what you say to them will not be said with words. If you don't have confidence, fake it till you make it. I teach this to my the girls who work for me all the time. And I say to them too, I'm like, don't tell them, I have 1 year of experience. Tell them that our team has 15 years of experience doing, 10 times the transactions of most other teams. So we really have 50 years of experience, something like that. Always talk about the team, sense. And just have the confidence too, I think also in your higher power, that you're protected, that you are cared for, and that really you can't go wrong if you believe that all things work together for good, that there's a reason for everything. So be careful of confidence versus arrogance, especially if you're faking it until you make it. It's pretty easy to have arrogance. What is it that separates confidence from arrogance? There's one thing: thankfulness. You can't be arrogant and thankful. So confidence is mixed with thankfulness. You're thankful towards your higher power. You're thankful towards the people towards, who are around you. You got where you are, and you've been blessed, and you have certain resources available to you, and that's great. But you're thankful because you know that you couldn't have done it without the people around you, and you certainly couldn't have done it without your higher power. It is impossible to be arrogant and thankful. Arrogance says, yeah, it's me. I'm cool. I'm amazing. I'm the center of all of this and all of that kind of stuff. Confidence says, I understand the blessings that I've been given, and I'm so thankful that I've been chosen to receive them. Another huge thing is I never put anyone down. I am so shocked with how simple or how easily people will put down other agents and put down other companies, whatever it is. I try my very hardest to never say anything negative about anyone ever. I have like the most amazing story of showing this couple houses, and they literally, each one of them would pull me off to the side and tell me nasty things about the other one and be like, yeah, he just wants this house because he wants da 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 da. Don't you think? And don't you think? And I would be like, oh my goodness, that sounds like quite the pickle you have yourself in. And I would just never ever make a committal statement. Well, I made it to the end of that transaction, but guaranteed, if I'd been pulled aside by one of the buyers who then got me to say something bad about the husband, the moment they made up, she'd be like, do you know that the realtor hates you? So no thanks. Like, keep your mouth shut. Never say anything negative about anyone. So this is kind of huge. And I wrote it here perfectly. I'm generous because it's foundational to my faith life. That's why I'm generous. I believe that it's the right thing to do, to be generous in all things. But it so happens that generosity has gotten me more deals than I can count. I believe that this is why most faiths require generosity. Now, this is true, and I'm going to sound horrible here, but let me tell you the honest truth. I do truly give because I believe it's the right thing to give. How many times, however, I've given radically to somebody in need, and then they've referred me, their brother, sister, mother, whatever, to buy or sell a house is countless. I literally do not do it for that. I never look for a return, ever. But if one happens to come, great. That's wonderful. That's the way generosity works. I believe that it's written into the laws of this universe that if you want to receive, you have to give. You have to. That's foundational to what I believe is true around us. So, generosity with time as a real estate agent. This is huge. When you are working with online leads, sometimes you're going to go for coffees that lead to nothing. Sometimes you're going to show houses and find out that they wrote a deal on a new build on the weekend. These things happen, and you cannot let them get you down. And I have to constantly pull my agents that work for me here in Calgary out of this. And I have to make sure they're not closing down and closing up and wanting to stop being generous. Because if you start keeping your cards to your chest, or you say, no, I'm not going to go out with you until you sign a buyer's brokerage, until I have some sort of commitment with you, you're going to lose out on a lot. So many times I have gotten business, especially in my younger years when I was doing, online real estate all the time. I've gotten so much business from just showing up and being willing to be there. And then by the time it's over, they're kind of like, okay, well, you've come with us this far. I guess it just makes sense to keep going. And I mean, I'm going to quick jump back to that confidence about how I just want to kind of add to confidence that I always talk and act like I have the job. I just don't even consider a world where I wouldn't have the job. And so as soon as I show up, I'm there. We're doing this and we're going to buy you a house. And what else do you need? And great. And the next steps will be with me because obviously we're working together to buy a house. So sorry, I just wanted to back up to talk about confidence there a second, but I'm going to keep going. I never require anything in exchange for what I give. Yeah, it so happens that many people do feel obligated because of my generosity, but that's human nature and I can't control that. And that's very true. I never ever expect anything in return, not even a thank you. I'm huge on that. They don't even have to say thank you for anything that I do. I never require anything, but it so happens that a lot of people do hook on. Yes, and when people take advantage of my generosity, I militantly refuse to let it stop making me be generous. Absolutely not. I keep going forward. If they take advantage of it, so be it. I may decide to put up a boundary, but it will not make me stop being generous to people in the future. So orphan mentality versus sonship mentality. So the orphan spirit says, there's not going to be enough. I won't be okay. It's up to me. If I don't do it, nobody will. I need to hoard for myself and keep for myself. There's not enough to go around. The spirit of sonship says, I am loved because of my higher power. I am taken care of. I am a son. I am a daughter. I am taken care of. There's something that's bigger than me that is taking care of me. And so I don't need to hoard. I can actually, because I actually already have everything I need from my higher power, I'm free to give away everything I have. It's the understanding of a different reality, that there's a backwards reality that's written into the universe. One of the things is that if you want to receive, you have to give. So the poverty mentality versus the prosperity mentality. I mean, I teach this to my kids all the time. I consider it my personal responsibility to teach my kids that there's always more. I don't want my kids to grow up thinking that there's not enough. I don't believe in teaching a poverty mentality because poverty breeds poverty. Prosperity breeds prosperity. And I want to teach my kids that growing up. And if you apply this mentality to yourself, I have plenty to give you. Sure, I have time to show you that listing. Yeah, sure, I can give you a quick value of your house, no problem. I know you haven't committed to me. That's okay. Here's the value. Believing that everything happens for a reason and that nothing is ever wasted. And this is huge. And I drill this into my agents. This is a great way to think, but it really hurts when somebody seriously takes advantage of you, when somebody really does, run you through. It really does hurt. And so just believing that, hey, you know what? If that client wasn't with me, there's a reason, because nothing is ever wasted. And so maybe they would have been horrible to deal with. Maybe they would have turned around and sued me without merit. You know what? Whatever the reason was, it wasn't meant to be, and I have peace with that. And I'm holding on to that. I'm not holding on to any bitterness or resentment over that. Having a teaching spirit. So this is part of generosity, because if you're teaching, you're also being generous. So, teaching my clients is huge. And again, you're often telling them the same sorts of things. There's sort of a built-in set of values for real estate that you're teaching people. What is it? What is a good location? How do I identify a good floor plan? What does the sun exposure do to my property? That kind of stuff, You're teaching the same sort of stuff over and over again. And I think that the more you get into this business, the more you can get frustrated with these foundational things that you're teaching over and over and over again. But the teaching spirit takes the time and takes pleasure and joy in bringing people in and around these concepts that you've been blessed with, that you can bring other people into. When you grow your business through EXP, which you should, through me, shameless plug, you're going to have to be teaching people all the time, and you have to be willing to give away everything that you have. And I do this constantly with the people that I train for EXP. You give away every single thing that you have. You don't keep any cards to your chest, because you want these people to succeed, because when they succeed, you succeed. So yeah, in this industry, I have noticed that most agents are very cards to chest, and it's hard to understand how they've been successful. Be an agent that's willing to give away the farm, that's willing to give away anything to see someone else be successful. When I was just getting started, before I did a ton of business, I had this fantastic agent who told me, Rachel, there is more than enough business for everyone. There is so much business. Like, the vastness of the business that's out there is outrageous. These other realtors are not your competition. Your only competition is yourself, pretty much. You just need to beat the things in you that hold you back from being able to get this new business, whatever those impediments may be. Patience in your pipeline. So when you believe in your pipeline, when you know that you are storing your pipeline, you have excellent systems in place, you have an inside sales agent, a professional inside sales agent, and you should, you don't have to rush people to making a decision right now, because even if they're not ready right now, that's fine. They'll be ready in 6 months. And the easier you make it for them to disengage and to back away, and think about it or do whatever they need to do, the more likely they will be to come back to you in 6 months when they're ready. So when you trust in your pipeline, you're not stressed and edgy, and people can sense that. They can sense that there's no pressure. If you ever want to be $1 million agent, get ready for it, because $1 million clients, in my experience, they are quite the long game, because they're looking for the shiny penny. They're looking for that one property, that one special property, and it takes some time to find, and some doing to find, because oftentimes it's not something you can easily just pull out of Matrix. You need to really think creatively, and then just plain work on it or wait for it. So work your mindset every day. It's one of the most important things, your mindset. What comes off of you when you meet people? How can you do that? Prayer. I cannot tell you enough. Prayer, surrender, meditation, just quietness and focusing, filling your mind with the scripture in your holy book. You can tell I'm very spiritual. Speak words of life over yourself and others. Don't speak, negative words over yourself. Words have power. Don't speak negative words over other people. Expect the best. Hope is defined as the joyful expectation of good things to come. have hope, have joy. Don't be a Murphy's Law type person. When you're a Murphy's Law type person, you attract Murphy's Law to yourself. So be a person who expects the best. I teach my kids too all the time to think first the best thing of other people, of their brothers and sisters. Assume that the best thing is what's going to happen. So, when you get a call from your kid's school, you assume, oh, that's the principal calling because they're going to give my kid an award, rather than, my kid's in trouble and at the principal's office. It's just changing the way you think to expect the best thing. And you know what? If it's bad news, then so be it. You'll deal with that when it comes. But don't live your life expecting the worst thing. So there you go. This was loosely about real estate and a lot about your mindset and spirituality. I hope it's blessed you. If you want to book an appointment to talk about online lead generation and changing your business through online real estate marketing ads, I would love to talk to you. You can reach out to me there at my Calendly link below, calendly.com/revivalrachel. Thanks again for your time today. Bye-bye.